Hello, and welcome back to the GTD Podcast. I am the Norix. I speak for the podcast and other things, I guess. I don't fucking know. I'm here, as always, with my two lovely co-hosts, Devin and Matthew.
Hello.
Yes.
We co and we host.
Yeah,
I think we just co.
co and host this travesty.
All of that.
Before we get into things, I just want to say that the news we're going to be talking about is like 2-3 weeks old now, I guess, technically speaking. So if you care about our opinions on what on the Nintendo Direct and PlayStation, all that, then go ahead and keep on trucking through this thing. Otherwise, you're free to leave. But stay anyways, because we're not funny, but we're engaging, I guess. I don't know. Also, I'm not going to give you a reason as to why there's been a month break between episodes. I was depressed. Fuck you.
I also forgot to visit you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's whatever. So moving on swiftly, unless we want to do more preamble, which will just fall into whatever anyways. So first up on the docket, we'll be talking about what we've been doing this month. Moving into trailers, except we don't have any, so we're just gonna be after we're done talking about what we've been doing this week, we're just gonna headline straight into talking about the Nintendo Direct, PlayStation, whatever it's called. What are they called? PlayStation State of Play, and an Xbox showcase, the ID at Xbox showcase, which thing. And then we have some more extra news for those interested in a very famous developer and director making a YouTube channel to advocate game device. So, and you know where it leads from there. So we're just gonna hop right into things today. So Matthew, what have you been up to?
So I can't say that I've been playing video games recently.
Okay.
I've mostly been editing, amazingly, for the past few days at least.
And
working on other writing stuff, but I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, so that's the closest thing to gaming that I can say. Well, video gaming, which isn't. I mean, it uses a video call, so does that count?
It's a tabletop RPG.
I know.
It's the progenitor.
So, yeah, I've been playing D&D. I've done a little bit of Minecraft, not too much. And I've been editing a YouTube video, which I think should be done in the next couple days.
Wow.
Or at least done with the first draft.
Fantastic stuff, that.
Yeah, that's all that I've been doing.
Man. That's crazy. Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Devin, what about you?
Well, I failed to get a job twice, which was kind of sad.
It's fine. Everybody's failed to get a job in this day and age.
Oh, yeah, but it used to be like just a few months ago, it was really easy, apparently, or it felt like. And now all the jobs are either too far away or require things like, what's that thing called? Like a degree or previous work experience. Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
It's a goddamn wonder that anything still works at all, to be perfectly honest.
Well, here's the thing, though. It works really well because you get previous work experience at a company by your parents working at the company and giving you a leg up into it. And then their parents work there, or their children can work there. And then if they know someone, that person, and you can just kind of bring people in that you've disappeared, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why.
Okay. And that works, and it tends to work pretty well. And then if someone goes and has an internship somewhere, then they get a job there. But it's really weird. It's really some of these office positions. It's like, how do you get a job here? Oh, you need experience. How do you get that experience? You just have it. It's fun to ask people how they got their job, though. Anyway, the more important thing is what I've been doing recently is the Rings of Power released, and I think that the story behind how the Rings of Power got made is absolutely fascinating. And then also the story of like the response to it, and then also the show itself being kind of bad. There's a saying called the polished turd. If you've heard of this.
I've heard of this concept before.
Yes. Rings of Power is a extremely polished turd. And the problem is it didn't even need to be like that. And there's a way to salvage it, I believe, by making it into a comedy. Because it is truly a comedy. Like if you watch the show and you're like, oh, what is this show supposed to be? And you just watch it. You don't absorb any of the marketing material, and you just simply watch the show itself. It quickly becomes a comedy if you're paying any attention. And I think the show should have just simply said that it was going to be most like a comedy that wasn't supposed to be taken seriously, because it is nearly impossible to take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah. It's actually, no, it's impossible to take it seriously if you pay any attention. And it constantly punishes you for thinking, if you're supposed to take it seriously, but if you're not supposed to take it seriously, then it's really good. It's actually a pretty decent show. Like it goes from being a 4 or something to being like a 7 or an 8.
I see.
Partly because of the polish. Like the polish does a good job for it, but like, yeah, this is my opinion.
All right.
There's Rick and Morty is a really great show. It's got some huge flaws that take away a couple of points.
That was a jump from a topic.
Well, no, that Rings of Power should go into the same category as Rings of Morty and how serious it should be taken.
Okay.
Because they not only do this material, they disregard how time works and make a day take 15 minutes. A day passes in 15 minutes, or a kid sits in a well for 23 hours.
All right.
Or they run through not 23 hours, 8 hours, sorry. Or they're running through the woods for 8 hours. Or they're just incompetent. And I would much prefer not to say that they are incompetent.
Okay. Seems to be the case, though.
No.
I don't know. I haven't personally followed Rings of Power or that new Game of Thrones thing that they're doing.
Okay, here's the thing. The funny thing. If you follow Rings of Power and you follow the Game of Thrones thing, people love the game. People who are sad about Game of Thrones being people who are sad about Game of Thrones being terrible are happy about this show. However, casuals are sitting there going, I am having a hard time keeping up. I may have to rewatch this episode. That was a lot of stuff. What is going on with the pace? They are going so fast and giving us so much information that, whoa. People who know a little bit are able to keep up because there's enough information. There's so much information there, but they already know a little bit of it. And because they're not just normies sitting back to watch it and not really pay full attention, then like if you're paying full attention to the House of the Dragon, then you're going to be able to keep up with it. But if you're not spending all of your time when you're watching the shows glued to the screen, it's going to be a little hard. Whereas with Rings of Power, if you don't pay a lot of attention to it, it gets better.
I see.
Because you can sit back and watch the really
That's
cool...
a bad thing.
And then when they start saying dialogue, you can go get a drink. And then while they're continuing to say dialogue, you can drink that drink and chat with your friend and check your phone. And then when the dialogue's over, some cool stuff starts happening again. And then maybe you'll have missed some stuff, so you don't really know how things line up, but you just assume that this happened, then this happened, and then you missed some stuff, and now this is happening. And if you do that enough, then it's enjoyable. And normies who don't really think about the details of it very hard, like, Force Awakens, it had some things that were really weird in it. It feels like every episode of Rings of Power has the amount of flaws that Force Awakens had, except they escalate on each other because they keep doing the mystery box thing and then resolving the mystery boxes poorly. Like, yeah, they took the people who made the show took a page out of J.J. Abrams' playbook and they ran with it, but they ran with it for a TV show, which means that as you're watching the TV show, they have to start revealing the mystery boxes, and they don't have anything in them because they're empty. So the sword that is a big mystery at one point turns out to be a key. But what is the key used for? But it turns out, and then they're going to abandon that one. Okay, so it turns out that the key is actually used to open a dam. So Sauron made a dam. And made a sword to be the key of it if you took that sword to that dam. But the dam would only flood the water in the direction he wants if someone also digs a giant tunnel for the water to flow through. Which presumably gets dug in a couple of days by a bunch of elves who are enslaved by orcs. Elves who were warrior elves who got kidnapped off screen in a battle we didn't see because that would have made no sense.
Makes sense.
Why don't the orcs just dig a pit? Why is there even not a pit if they're what? Yeah. And also then you start thinking about it more and you're like, wait, why did Sauron make a key to make? But it's because you're supposed to watch it jump for jump.
Because the people who made it read the bit in the book where it says that he was a blacksmith and said, let's just run with that.
He was a blacksmith, so he made a key to open a dam that would flood this trench that didn't exist yet, this trench that would have to be dug in order to bring the water from the dam down to Mount Doom in order to cause something to happen. I don't know what happens, though, because I haven't watched the show. I haven't watched that far into the show. I watched the first episode and part of the second episode. And there are people who defended the show at first, saying, let's make sure this is good before we say that it's bad. And now they're like, okay, so it's not very good. And then it gets a little bit further and they're like, okay, so it's really not very good. And then they're starting to explain why it's bad because they're intelligent people.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And the people who are fans of the show are attacking people who don't like the show.
So a fan base.
Yes, they are being a very, yeah. I hesitate to say the word toxic fans because I hate the word toxic fans, and they're not really being toxic fans. They're just being abusive, which I would say is toxic behavior if you're going to use the word toxic.
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
It's just so funny, like the amount of jumping logic. Like there's a character called Halbrand, the way, like, and ineptitude, because the people who made the show, by the way, the people who wrote the show, at least the two guys, I don't know about the girl, it was written by three people, and the two guys don't have experience writing TV shows,
right?
So of course they're the ones that get chosen to write the biggest, most expensive show of all time.
Yeah. Don't you know Amazon has high standards?
Yeah.
That Jeff Bezos certainly makes some decisions.
Maybe it was because of Game of Thrones, because the guys who made Game of Thrones, one of them was like an author who'd written a couple books, and the other one was, I think,
but that didn't work.
It did. The first 4 seasons were good. They adapted it really well.
Yeah, that's why it didn't work. Because as soon as they had to think for themselves, they flailed miserably.
At least in Game of Thrones, the nonsense was contained a little bit. Well, at least in Game of Thrones, they kept vaguely good character. No, they kept the characterization for some people. They didn't ruin everything. Like, yeah, in Rings of Power, there's a character. At least they are consistent. At least in Game of Thrones, they were consistent during the early seasons. They made something when they did have source material.
Mm-hmm.
In Rings of Power, there's a scene where a character shows up homeless out of the ocean with no money and needing a job. The next scene, he's buying a round of drinks for a table of people.
Well, I guess he got that job.
And housing, and can pay for food, or has magic powers to just make money out of nowhere.
Yeah, that well-informed magic that's very common in the Lord of the Rings universe.
The character with poor social skills is Galadriel, the thousands-of-year-old elf.
Makes sense. Yeah.
The whole Mithril plot line. There's like one really good story that's like actually expertly told in the entire show. And it's the one part that everyone loves. And whenever you ask anyone what their favorite part is, every single person will say that. They'll talk about the dwarves and the Durin storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided to make it very confusing.
Well, it's a TV show. Got to keep it going. Got to keep that mystery running. Got to go and go.
No.
Every show has to be long running. Every show, animated or not, has to be The Simpsons. Run for 34 seasons until you're dead in the ground.
Aaron, it's not just every show has to be The Simpsons. Every movie franchise has to be Avengers.
Yeah,
if you're going to make a movie, it has to be part of a movie franchise, and it has to be like Avengers. So it has to have quips all over in it. It's got to get Joss Whedonized.
Yeah. I don't particularly dislike Joss Whedon or his
style works,
directing style. I just hate how every single thing after Avengers or not even after Avengers, basically after the end of Phase 4, or after the Endgame. After Endgame, I've noticed basically like everything is so Marvelized, I guess you could say. Like it's all trying to emulate this like haha quips and not taking anything seriously at all, which severely hurt that new Thor film, from what I understand. It was like too not serious. It was too fun. Well, not funny. It wasn't funny.
It was too funny. It was too funny without.
It was too goofy, apparently. Like it was too far down the rabbit hole of like the quips and not taking scenes seriously to be enjoyable for people. From what I understand. Also, apparently they wasted some acting talent. I don't know. I haven't followed Marvel since Endgame, which is honestly, I feel like a lot of people did, because the Endgame was a nice plateau of just like, all right, we finished the story. The story we started in 2008 has officially ended.
And then they could have just...
Yeah, the one exception I will make to that is Spider-Man Far From Home is a really fucking good film that actually feels like a good epilogue to the entire series.
I mean, from what I've seen from it, it looks really good. It's the thing where people, when they talk about Phase 4, they're like, there's one good movie.
Yeah, and I'm not far from... So I know this, you know which Spider-Man film I'm talking about, right?
Yep, Spider-Man Multiverses.
No.
Spider-Man
Far From Home is the film that comes out after Endgame, and it's where Mysterio is in it.
It's not the one with multiverses.
No, it's Mysterio. I haven't seen that's Spider-Man. No, that's Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, not the Far From, because they need to have home in every Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, because he goes on a school trip to Italy and fights holograms with Mysterio, and Spider-Man No Way Home is the one where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up, along with the villains from their universe, which is kind of weird, because why is Sandman a villain again? he was a sympathetic character in that film. Whatever.
Okay.
Yes. So
I was gonna have a little bit of critique for the multiverse, because the multiverse thing happening, it was kind of stupid. like the whole cinch of the whole plot was that Doctor Strange is dumb, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So
I
no.
might watch. I will say I might watch Multiverse of Madness just to see. Fucking. Oh, what is the director's name?
Turn your brain off.
He directed the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Tom Brady. That's not his name. That's a football player.
That is a football player who is retired, I believe.
Quentin Tarantino.
What is his name? This is bothering me.
James Cameron.
Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. That's what it is. I might watch. The reason I might watch Multiverse of Madness is just to see Sam Raimi vaguely unhinged in his directing style.
Oh.
Because Sam Raimi is a very interesting director, and it's
yeah, we get to see undead Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I also, from what I understand, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't followed Marvel since after Far From Home, but like I think from what I heard vaguely is that there's like a more Sam Raimi version of that film that like the one that came out isn't exactly the one that he wanted to direct.
For sure. Marvel, the fun thing about Phase 4 is that it kind of started off with a kind of sad story about Eternals, which could have been a really good movie, or at least a really unique movie in the Marvel lineup. And then they were like, no, we have to make this a Marvel movie, and it has to follow all the Marvel movie check marks, and it can't be an R-rated movie, and we can't have all these slow emotional scenes. And the director was like, okay, but this is what I know how to do. And you brought me on to direct in my direction style to make my movie. And they're like, no, make a Marvel movie. And she was like, no.
Yeah, Disney.
Why?
And Disney, unsurprisingly, has lost the plot, which should not be a surprise to anybody who has seen them do anything the last 15 years.
I mean, they helped a concentration camp. They praised a concentration camp.
Which film did they do that in?
Mulan.
Oh, right.
The concentration camp. This is why I will encourage anyone who is watching and anyone I meet when I think of it to not have a Disney Plus account and not watch Disney movies at the theater. And also not attack them. Like, don't physically attack any Disney employees, but like,
just don't. How hard is it to not give a corporation money? It can't be that hard. Just don't give them your money. That's all you have to do. You just have to not give the big corporation money. It's all you have to do, and they will stop making them. As soon as these movies stop making money, they will stop producing them.
But Aaron, it's not that you have to do that. It's not that you have to stop giving them money. It's that the normies are going to keep giving them money. So you have to somehow have enough, wherewithal to convince normies not to watch it. And so you have to either be brave enough to go out there to normies and say, hey, normies. Yeah, you're normies, okay? You all normies, you people out there.
You saying normies is slightly bothering me. I don't know why.
Normies, they're normies. People are normies.
I don't know. Something about it.
No, Aaron, okay. The funniest thing, though, people will genuinely go out and be like, call themselves, yeah, I'm a normie as far as this stuff goes. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I am a normie in. Video games, for one thing.
Yeah.
Anything that's not Minecraft. I don't know.
It's whatever. I don't know.
And I don't care.
I've never heard you say it this much before, I think, is that what's throwing me off. I've never heard you say this word so much.
Normie. Well, and normies are very different than sheeple, because normies actually have a head on their shoulders. Sheeple are usually part of cults. Yeah, sheeple are part of cults, I think, unless sheeple is a different way that I'm thinking of. But with the analogy I would use, if I were to think of someone as a sheeple, I think of someone who is mindlessly obedient to the point where if you told them to walk off a cliff, they would walk off a cliff. Whereas a normie would be like, what the freak you doing, man? I'm not walking off a cliff, you idiot. Or they'd be like, huh? Why cliff? What?
I mean, sure, I guess. Also, I've not heard the term sheeple in a long while.
Either have I.
Like, Jesus, that is a fucking 2016 throwback right there.
Well, Well, whenever I think of sheeple, I think of Odd Ones Out did a video talking about conspiracy theories, and he said sheeple in it, and he made little cute sheep people in it.
I see. Also, I'm glad that the sun is just making me tomato orange at the moment.
Is that
It's
what's happening?
fantastic. I'm now a fantastic shade of I don't know, burnt auburn. Anyways, got distracted by the terms that you were using.
Yeah. So anyway, normies are gonna like Marvel because they remember that Marvel is good, and they will convince themselves that Marvel's good. And the sheeple,
honestly,
I don't think Marvel has Marvel sheeples. Exactly, but like, and then typical fans
like,
are just like, I like it or I didn't like it or whatever, but they're still gonna watch. It's kind of hard to stop the momentum of something that good.
I will say it's like I don't think. Oh god damn it! I lost the plot of my own sentence. I hate it when that happens. I was going to say I don't think that. Oh yeah, like I don't think that the more recent Marvel films have been particularly liked, though.
No.
As far as I'm aware, a lot of the recent films that have come out from Disney, Pixar, and Marvel have kind of been on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of popularity.
I believe so.
Lightyear was a failure at the box office.
Really?
Yeah. The director even said, "I'm disappointed by this, and I'm going to blame the one kissing scene instead of it being a really fucking boring film."
Wait. They're gonna...
No, that's
wait. No.
No.
That one scene is.
Let me clarify.
The thing that they're blaming.
That's definitely probably not what he actually said. However, here's the thing. I guess I'll applaud the directors for because they fought Disney to include that scene in the film. I will say, that was a big thing. They fought cool. Disney. The same-sex kiss scene.
Yeah, there is a scene. No, this is really funny. There is a scene in Lightyear where two girls kiss, or two women.
Right. Yeah, and they fought Disney really hard to include that.
And there are two things that are really interesting. One, it was nearly impossible to find the clip on YouTube. Because
to be fair,
no one's talking about it except people who are being like, "Oh, then people hate this movie because of this scene." You watch the movie, you see the scene, you're like, "Oh, okay."
Also, the moment it happens is in a montage section of the film where Buzz is looking at his friend grow throughout the years. It's such a one-off small thing.
And
anyways, my point being is that Lightyear is a very boring, very good-looking piece of something.
There's a slightly second thing though.
Yes.
So the women who kiss are married.
Yes.
And they have a daughter.
Yes. They probably adopted her or grew her out of a tube.
Who looks like the mom.
So, here's the thing. I don't care. It's a
funny.
space colony. It's a space colony. It's a space colony 50 million years in the future or some shit. I don't care.
I know, it's totally fine. It's just funny. I think it's funny.
Also, why is Buzz Zurg? It doesn't make any sense. Where did he get all the robots from?
If people watch Lightyear, their biggest problem will be that the Zurg plot doesn't make sense. And then
also,
it's
very
problem
boring.
Will be that it's just not very, yeah. And then, of course, the later down on the line, people who have complained about it talk about the cat. People who like the cat. People who think about the movie and then start listing off critiques realize that the cat kind of became a plot device that just solved problems.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
So there wasn't much tension if the cat was there because the cat could just solve the problem like it did the last one or the one before that or the one before that.
Mm-hmm.
How is the cat so
tension?
Powerful?
The whole point is to have tension.
Also,
yeah.
Who wouldn't buy that cat as a toy?
People want the toy.
That's why it exists.
Back in...
I don't know if you know this, but that's why it exists in the film.
Yeah.
It's to sell toys.
People want the cat as a toy, so why didn't Andy have a cat toy?
Exactly. Right. The idea is that it's the movie that Andy watched, right?
You see, it's both the movie that Andy watched, but then there's also another movie in canon that is the movie that Andy watched. So there are two different options for it. It gets really confusing.
Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, as far as I can tell, has been scrubbed from existence as far as Disney is concerned. It no longer, anything relating to that show or its universe is no longer appearing on anything Disney related.
Wow.
It's not on Disney Plus. It's nowhere.
Gosh.
They
Why?
do not want that to exist.
They do
I don't
not.
know why, but they don't. Anyways,
It's just like the Star Wars without McClunky.
McClunky.
What?
I don't even know where. Like, I get that that was a final new edition thingy from when they added it thing. Like, it's whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. No, Aaron, it's perfect. Of course, you need to have the character say McClunky before getting shot. Because how else would Han know to break his neck moving sideways to shoot him?
Ah, yes, that good old digital editing.
Good job.
And
I'm
they
going to
kept
be
Han
perfectly
shot
honest. The Han shot first thing never bothered me. The reason
Han
it
shot
never
first.
bothered me is because, you know what I mean, the whole argument around it. It's like the reason it never bothered me is partially because the versions I grew up with had that edit in them, but also it's because it never made me think that, like, I get that the reason people argue that it's a bad edit is because it's like, oh, it completely changes the dynamic of Han. It's like, no longer is he just firing on this guy to kill him because he's, you know, whatever in this tense negotiation. He's firing hand in vague defense. So it's like, oh, he's not a cold-blooded murderer, but like, that was a face-off and he missed. I don't think it really makes the scene any less or better. It's so pointless.
It doesn't mean anything.
Like, it doesn't really change his character dynamic any more than it wouldn't have. He still comes to save them at the end anyways.
Oh, but what if they had changed that and had him not save them?
He's like,
Somehow.
he's Fortune and Glory, Indiana Jones from the second film, but he gives up the thingy to save the village or whatever. It's a common archetype.
No, Aaron, see, here's the thing. Here's the reason that Han shot first is important. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Because creators editing their material that they've made, if someone makes a movie, like imagine you watched a YouTube video and then you found out that the YouTuber was allowed to edit their YouTube video slightly, and they made some kind of weird edit to the videos, and then they made a couple of edits to that edit, and then they edited that edit, and then they edited in themselves saying McClunky.
I mean, it's like,
it doesn't make any sense.
Here's the thing. I completely understand the attitude and want for there to be the original preserved things as they originally were, which exist now. So you can stop complaining about it.
They do.
Yes. When Disney acquired the rights to Star Wars, they fucking released the original theatrical releases on DVD and Blu-ray for people to buy. They exist now.
Hey.
They've existed for 10 years. The Star Wars fandom is stuck in a time warp.
Hey.
Where every time you bring up a controversial thing, people argue about it for no goddamn reason.
No, Aaron, 12 years.
12 years, whatever.
It's not 2018 anymore.
Yes, you're right. It's not. Might as well be 2020.
No, wait, not 12 years. 14 years. Wait, 14 years. What the heck? What year is it?
2022.
10 years. Yeah, 14 years. I'm bad at math.
Yeah, 14.
Wait, how do people complain about this then? Maybe the Blu-rays are really expensive.
I don't know. It was a big thing at the time when they released because people were like, finally, I can have my original Star Wars.
Aaron, the original Star Wars costs $174.
Where are you finding this?
Release of 3 movies.
What?
Mm-hmm.
On what?
The original theatrical from 2008, the 2008 released Star Wars trilogy from the widescreen theater edition, the 1977 version, costs almost $200 plus shipping
From what seller?
from Amazon.
Ah, well, that's your problem.
Okay. Well, if you go somewhere else, it's going to be used.
It is used. It
$100,
already is used. That's the problem.
$1,000, $80. Okay, that's not so bad.
Anyways,
Yeah.
everybody, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Anyway, the original versions are on fucking
We should
Disney
bring back,
Plus
we should
too,
bring
anyways,
back
if
the
you want.
30-year copyright
Watch 'em.
laws, and so
Anyways.
people can like actually not have, people can actually use copyright after 30 years. That would be very nice.
We don't need to talk about copyright laws. But yeah, I don't know. We've gone through a tangent. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Wait. You want to hear something fun about budget? So the Rings of Power.
Okay, we're going back to Rings of Power.
The Rings of Power is estimated to have about $1 billion budget. It spent $250 million on the rights to the appendices. Tolkien wrote a bunch of books. He wrote Lord of the Rings. At the end of the last Lord of the Rings book, there was a whole book worth of stuff, and it's called the appendices. They bought that, or the rights to that, for $250 million.
Okay.
They didn't buy the Silmarillion, which would have been really cool, because then they could have actually used some really neat ideas.
Yeah.
So, with the rights to these histories, they then spent a lot more on other stuff, and they paid the actors. Some of them were paid $15,000 an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the lead actors, including like the best character, in my opinion.
All right.
$15,000 an episode for a massive budget show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of money, but you know.
No, Aaron, think about this. Okay. How much does actors make? They make a lot of money.
Does actors make? Yep.
Generally speaking,
So
it depends
100
on their contract.
Right. If you're made $120,000 for an acting gig, that would be a lot.
Yes.
But these are the big name actors. How much did Sean Bean make in Game of Thrones? Sean Bean was paid the same as them. Okay.
He was also
Time
killed off
dilation.
because he's Sean Bean.
Oh, no, wait. Okay, that makes way more sense. Sean Bean. So the actress that plays Disa and a couple of the other actors were paid about $120,000 total, maybe about 150, maybe about 100,000 total for their whole contract for the whole episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it took to film these, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. Sean Bean, maybe 3 years actually, because the production for was a while, but Sean Bean was paid $120,000 an episode for 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm. And he got a good contract.
He did, and he was a big name actor for that show, to be fair.
Yeah, he's also Sean Bean, which means he dies because he dies in everything.
Yes, which is sad.
No, it's not. That's just his thing. He's the villain.
No.
Sean Bean is a good actor. He plays his roles very well. He also dies in every one of his films, pretty much.
Really?
What?
No, I'm just curious. How many times does he die? He dies. Oh my gosh. There's just a list of.
He's played a lot of villains, and most of those villains have died. The one role that off the top of my head that I know he didn't die in was fucking National Treasure. You remember National Treasure with Nicolas Cage? Sean Bean was the villain in that film, and he didn't die in that one.
Oh.
The villain in the second film died, but that wasn't Sean Bean.
He was in Pixels. No one cares.
Yeah.
He was apparently in The Martian, which I don't remember that at all.
The Martian?
Yeah. National Treasure, Pixel. He was a drill sergeant in Pixels. That explains that.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very versatile actor. Holy moly.
Sean's been good. I like Sean Bean.
He was in the Percy Jackson reboot. That's funny.
Oh yeah. He was He was Zeus. I forgot about that.
The Martian Wolf Walkers. Cool.
All right, we're officially meandering, I think.
He's from Yorkshire. Interesting.
Yorkshire. Anyways. Yeah, I think we've hit the end of the tangent at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I guess the one thing,
Aaron, you should watch Rings of Power with us. Don't actually. We should just finish watching Arcane, because I was going to say that Rings of Power. If you compare Rings of Power to Game of Thrones, I would say, why don't you just watch Arcane if you haven't watched it yet? Because you probably haven't watched it yet. Statistically, it got a 10 out of 10 on every view on every single rating site I've seen, either a 10 out of 10 or a 100%.
Yeah.
How does that happen for a show?
It is good,
right? But wouldn't you think that it would at least get people upset about it because it's so good or so popular? It's not even popular enough to get bad reviews from people hating because it's popular, because it's not even popular.
That's because it came out on Netflix.
It's so good. I know, it's kind of sad.
Also, was that series uploaded one episode at a time when it came out? I don't recall. If it wasn't and it was just dumped on Netflix, then that very much tracks with how Netflix does its thing.
Oh, did it get dumped?
Probably. That's what Netflix does. I mean, season two is possibly coming out.
No, don't make it quickly. No.
I mean, it vaguely got announced like
okay.
sometime this year, but it's probably going to be in production for a while.
I want them to spend a few years on that, because the first show was so good. I want them to make a Toy Story 2. I don't want them to make any other sequel or a Die Hard 2, especially not a Die Hard 2. That'd be terrible. I mean, I trust them. I trust them to know what they're doing. These guys who made it really good. They're a video game company after all. I mean, who knows better how to make movies than video game companies? Who have a track record of knowing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Arcane was based off of Arcane was based off of a music video, by the way.
I mean, vaguely. And, we're very meandering. Anyways,
we're gamers.
Yes, Arcane is good. It probably got dumped on Netflix, which is why nobody cares to remember it, because Netflix's main goal is to, I don't know.
It beat Squid Game. Arcane was more popular than Squid Game.
I don't know, man. It's just the Netflix effect. As soon as you get put on their platform, you're destined to be destined for obscurity. It happens with basically everything that gets put on there, with the exception of Stranger Things, which is, I think, only because it was like uber popular and they actually tried very hard to market it to the point that people wouldn't forget about it. Squid Games was popular for like a week.
Anyways. I know. Oh.
Yeah. Anyways.
So sad. Squid Game, it wasn't even as good as Arcane. Arcane is perfect. It's the definition of a perfect show. Except that I like Stranger Things more.
I will be the... Wait.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
But like...
Yeah.
I think objectively speaking, Arcane could be considered the better of the two, just because it doesn't have multiple other seasons that ultimately aren't as good as the first. You know? It's like, you know.
I mean, wait, what did you say?
Like, even if you like Stranger Things more, it's like Stranger Things is kind of a lower, not as good product at the end of it because of all of the stuff that happened after the first season.
If you just simply take season 1 of Stranger Things on its own, and then you take Arcane season 1, I will say Arcane is, I believe, an objectively better written series by a decent amount. And that is a lot, because like Stranger Things is so good, but Stranger Things had to pull so much on nostalgia in order to work, and Arcane doesn't do that.
Yeah, it's based on a video game, but most of the people who watch it and enjoy it don't even play League of Legends.
And Arcane has a better message than Stranger Things. Stranger Things doesn't have a message.
Don't get killed by monsters.
I'm sorry, but don't get killed by monsters.
Don't
find strange children in the middle of the woods and hide them in your basement.
Don't be an evil organization.
Don't be. No, it's the government. That was the government.
So what? The government is an organization.
Stranger Things.
Technically speaking.
The messages of Stranger Things are evil scientists. And season 4 recontextualizes stuff from season 1, which is so bad and painful. Like, it's like, whatever. Just season 1. Forget the rest of it. It says, magic powers exist for some people. We don't know where they came from, and we're not going to explain in the show how that works. What's the other thing? Characters, these kids, some of the kids are not characterized very much. And that's okay, I guess, but some of the kids are not the most characterized. Somehow Will survived in the Upside Down for days without food or water, unless he got food or water from the Upside Down, which requires outside source material in order to explain how that happened. He didn't get eaten by the monsters. They kidnapped him instead of killing him. They somehow had telekinetic powers despite never having telekinetic powers, because there's a scene in the first episode where the lock gets unlocked, and the whole reason that all these little details are like this is because the show is pulling from stuff and putting it in. Is the show amazing? Yeah, but it's a 9 out of 10.
Sure.
Personally, I think it's great. Personally, I would enjoy watching it more than I enjoy watching Arcane, but that's like, they're both so high up that I'm just like counting toothpicks or counting grains of sand or something.
Counting grains of rice.
Yeah.
I'm etching numbers into grains of rice.
Have you ever heard of the rice, the emperor and the guy who saved his daughter and asked for a grain of rice doubled once a day for 100 days?
Is this like a thought experiment?
Nope, it's an actual short story. It's like an ancient story.
No, I haven't then.
There's like a guy and he's like, I wish, he's like, the emperor's like, you saved my daughter, what can I give you? And he's like, just a grain of rice a day, doubled every day for 100 days. And the emperor's like, oh, that seems reasonable. And then after 2 days, it's like, okay, 1 grain of rice, 2 grains of rice, 4 grains of rice, 8 grains of rice, 16 grains of rice. And eventually, like very quickly, it's like 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. And it gets up, and then the emperor's like, all right, we have like 5 or 6 more days to go, or maybe not 5 or 6, they have several more days to go. And he's like, how am I supposed to even gather enough rice to pay this guy?
Yeah.
It's just like, all powerful, I can buy the kingdom with my my 2 rice a day, or not 2 rice a day, double a rice a day. It's great.
My immense power with rice.
Yeah. And that story is talking about compound interest and investing. Totally.
Definitely.
Dangers of greed. If you're too greedy, then the emperor will ruin his kingdom trying to give you rice.
Right. Okay.
And the value of saving women so that their fathers will be dumb and give you a bunch of rice. Oh, and also, did you know Gremlins is racist? Sorry, I shouldn't bring that up right now.
What the fuck? Where does this come from? I'm not even gonna ask. I don't care.
I'm doing research on racism, and I found an article that lists some movies, and the number 50 on their list is Gremlins, and I'm like, how do you do that? It's not racist against Asians, by the way. I mean, it is a little racist against Asians, but apparently Gremlins is racist against Black people.
I'm gonna be really honest. I'm struggling to even recall if there is a Black person in that film. Wait, no, there is I think there's one. It's the teacher that gets killed, I think.
Aaron, this is the orcs. This is like orcs in D&D. You see, according to the racist authors, the gremlins are supposed to be.
That doesn't make sense on many levels.
What? Wait, what?
Especially since the gremlins are good initially. Well, they aren't called gremlins. They're called what are they called? Fucking
No, Aaron.
what is the species of the thing called now? Mogwai.
Oh.
That's what it was.
Mogwai?
Mogwai. They're called
Mogwai.
Mogwais.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I can't remember. I should rewatch Gremlins. It's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Especially the second film. That film's
definitely
hilarious.
not what I would call PG rated scare scenes where it's just like sneak attacks up on you and you're just like watching, you're like, god gosh dang it, why
isn't
did you
that film PG?
I probably, it's just I would not classify that stuff as PG because you could hurt someone. You'd be like,
I mean,
but
it's
old school PG.
Do you know what PG stands for?
Yeah, parental guidance. 12-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds would love watching scary stuff.
I mean, they did. That's why it was a success and got a second film.
I'm one of those people that I don't think modern family shows
also,
are any good. I think
the only people that die in that film, from what I recall, is the teacher who was being a dumbass, the old lady who was literally trying to kill a dog at the beginning. Yeah, the old lady who wanted to like put down the protagonist's dog, who dies by going up the stair lift really fast and gets shot out of a window and lands on a police car. God, that film was ridiculous. Yeah, I don't recall anybody. We don't actually see anybody except for like a couple random people die, and the people that do die kind of deserve it because they're either being dumb or were massive pricks. Like, none of our heroes die. The villain is defeated in a very graphic way, but like, that's pretty cool, honestly.
How do they defeat them again? They don't lure them into
sunlight and an explosion. Oh yeah, they like lock a bunch of them they lock all of them in a movie theater and blow it the fuck up.
I remember that.
Oh, that's so good. And then Stripe dies via sunlight because Mogwais don't like light, so he gets fucking melted into oblivion. That's probably the most graphic thing in that film, and it's the villain dying.
Okay, maybe I'll take because I've just remembered that Indiana Jones was also probably rated PG.
It was actually that might have been a G film.
The face melty.
Well, G stands for general audiences.
Aaron, face melty.
Probably fine. Maybe it was a PG.
I really hope.
I know a lot of films back then were, because the rating system was like G, PG, and R, and if you didn't have one of those ratings, you had an X, which meant you were porn. So like, general audiences, parental guidance.
PG, yeah, Raiders is PG. Okay.
Parental guidance, and then R for restricted, I think, which is for just people of a certain age.
So we're a gaming podcast, right?
We're a gaming podcast.
Yeah, we've officially gotten very off topic. Sorry about that. Anything else you wanted to discuss? You were talking about what you were doing this month. Anything else to add?
Yeah, a bunch of research for this big, really long video about Rings of Power. And apparently also Gremlins. There's like a 5-minute portion where I go into talking about racism and why it's bad and not how to deal with it, but like stuff about racism. I don't actually remember what it was. It was like
all right.
My brain that was focusing on it was like, all right, I've edited this for 3 hours and hopefully I don't sound stupid, but I can't remember anything that I said, and I'm not going to rewatch it right now because I'm tired.
Same. I just say things. I don't remember what they are.
Yeah.
So yeah. So is that about it? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
This we rant about movies segment has been going on for like 30 minutes. That's fine.
I apologize.
It doesn't matter. Moving on to me. I'm in similar boat to Matthew, I guess, in terms of having been doing a lot. I have been recently, I don't know why specifically, but I've been going down this, like, I guess memory lane of like old free games that I used to watch a lot of, and I've actually been downloading some of them to play them. Like there's just a bunch of like really cool free games from like a long time ago that I've been having a renewed interest in playing. So that's that for gaming essentially. The fuck have I been doing? Basically nothing except being protest. It's a good thing I can't say words, because otherwise it's a good thing I run a podcast where saying words is my main thing that I do.
I don't see how that's relevant to saying words. Podcasts don't need words.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
I've been
What the
getting
heck? Computer.
annoyed at a lot of random shit that isn't really worth bringing up.
Wait, I just brought up a whole bunch of random shit that I've been annoyed by.
That was tangentially related to stuff you were doing. Vaguely. I don't know. Little Mermaid's probably gonna suck.
What? Aaron, no, Little Mermaid's not bad.
I don't want to get into it. It's probably gonna suck, and it's not to do with anything of the actress. It has everything to do with the fact that it's a live action remake of literally the film that brought about the second Disney Renaissance.
Aaron, I actually have a thought on this, which is I this is something I learned recently, and I was like, you know what? This adds extra resoundingness to my opinion. We should cast more racially diverse roles, because Nick Fury, that iconic character, was originally white, and I don't understand. I can't imagine a white Nick Fury, and so he did such a good job of being Nick Fury that he is the Nick Fury that I think of when I think Nick Fury. And that means that somewhere out there's someone who might be an even better role for any iconic character.
What about Snow White?
You could have a Snow White that's a different race. It would just be a little confusing, and you would have to change.
In which case,
so
you
the
have to
thing
choose to
about
make
the
it
Nick Fury
hair
thing
or
is that
something.
Nick Fury, I don't know if this happened after he was. I don't know if this was after he was cast in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or not, but there is Black Nick Fury in the comics. The white Nick Fury is actually his dad, I think, or his like the previous runner of Shield. Like there is Black Nick Fury in the comics. I just don't know if that happened before or after, fucking the Marvel stuff. I honestly don't know, because Iron Man came out in 2008 and Nick Fury is in that film.
Well,
so it's entirely possible that it happened before and then they just changed it to fit what the cinematic universe was doing at the time, which is entirely possible. I mean, Nick Fury was also Black in the Earth's Mightiest Heroes animated cartoon. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes animated cartoon. That was I don't want to get into it, but like that's a very good show. And then it became Avengers Assemble, which is bad. Anyways.
Wait, what were you just talking about?
Why you zone? I know I'm boring, but why'd you zone out?
No, I was looking into the Nick Fury thing.
Oh,
okay.
I was just bringing up Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's fine.
Oh
okay.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Earth. So
Earth is a planet.
Wait, he was Black in he was Black in Earth's Mightiest Mortals.
Yeah,
he was became Black about in the year 2000.
I'm sure that came out after Avengers. Avengers was
Earth's Mightiest Heroes came out in like sort of vague tandem at the time, and then got turned into Avengers Assemble to more closely relate to the designs and things from the cinematic universe at the time.
Okay, so
hold on. And then in one episode, because I did actually look at a little bit of that show, They have a flashback sequence that shows the old animation and old character design.
That's not unsurprising.
And it's really jarring.
That show got shafted.
Oh,
It was also supposed to have a crossover with Spectacular Spider-Man, another really good animated Marvel's cartoon from the time before the cinematic universe. Marvel, in terms of animation, it has been terrible for a very long time.
Oh,
DC has the opposite problem. All of their
I
live
agree.
action
I
stuff is
agree.
terrible, but all of their
So
animated stuff is very good. I shouldn't say all their live action stuff, but you get the point.
Yeah, a lot of their I thought Wonder Woman was pretty good. I enjoyed Wonder Woman, but
I liked Wonder Woman a lot too. I thought it was very good.
I'm
It's
one of
too
those
bad
feminist
that Gal Gadot is no longer going to be Wonder Woman ever again.
What?
Probably. I mean, they abandoned that entire universe and are doing something completely different.
Oh, right.
So they probably won't recast her. I mean, there's Aquaman 2. Is that still coming out? Is that still a thing that's happening?
I don't know.
I know, as far as I'm aware, I think What's-Her-Face is still in it. I don't know.
Devin, are you playing Minecraft?
So can
I
I
can't
no,
Okay.
totally not.
Oh, okay.
So can I say the thing about Little Mermaid?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So the thing is, you can have characters of races that are not what you would think. Especially if there's an actual explanation for like how they switched races. So like if you're doing a story and you're just like, we're just gonna change the races because, and then the characters around them don't also change races and they're all supposed to be related, then you're just kind of like, okay, well, that's confusing. Why are they all family? How do these genetics work? But whatever, that can be explained by not caring about it, and you don't have to care about that.
Yeah.
But what is annoying,
I mean, I'm somehow pale as the moon, and yet I have quite a bit of dark fucking words. Can't use words. I almost sounded racist. That was bad. I meant basically I have quite a bit of diversity in my heritage as far as I'm aware, and I somehow made it to where I am right now. I got all of the Irish, Scottish, and Polish. All of it is inside of me.
He was just waiting. It was just like, and now they're
Light literally reflects off of my body. That's how pale I am.
So my thinking is, you have all these perfect actors waiting out there to be able to be who they're meant to be, right?
Yes.
Or who they could be. You know, like I forgot his name. The guy who plays Nick Fury, I forgot what his name is.
I almost just said Nick Fury. It's like, it's Nick Fury,
Yeah,
obviously.
Nick Fury.
No.
He plays Nick Fury.
I can't remember his name. I'm bad with names though, so I have an excuse.
Well, basically, you have all this. So why would you restrict casting? Why would you ever be like, okay, we're adapting a white character? If we're adapting a character who is normally white, let's switch it. And there are some reasons. There are some characters who don't make sense to switch. An example that I heard was Clark Kent, because him being raised out in the middle of out as this white guy is like part of what he grows up as. He's like the typical white male office worker.
He's a farm boy.
Yeah.
He's the Boy Scout, the big-hearted farm boy that.
Yeah,
the big-hearted Southern farm boy who's the biggest Boy Scout in the goddamn world.
And so it detracts from him a little bit to switch his race around, because it doesn't. I mean, it not like ruins it or anything, but it's not something that you'd want to change.
I mean,
and if you have characters where their race matters, it's not something you'd want to change.
Yeah,
but in general, it's not horrible. And I'm trying to remember what the thing was that I was adding to that. It was something about Little Mermaid, I think. I don't know. I don't know what it was anymore.
Okay.
What I'm gonna say is that
also, why didn't they cast an actual drag star as Ursula? Why didn't they do that? They should have done that. That would have been great.
The color palette is bad. That is what I will say.
Yes, it is. It doesn't look like they're underwater at all.
No, well, it does kind of look like they're underwater. It's just way too dark.
Yeah. Anyways, I've gone down a tangent once again.
It's annoying.
Yes. Yes.
And also, why are they making remakes of Little Mermaid in the first place? Stop.
Because they're running out of really old ones to do, so they're starting to take from their Disney Renaissance catalog, which means that I'm pretty sure they're gonna remake Hunchback of Notre Dame as well.
Oh, that's
don't know how they're gonna do that. Also, I just want to say, oh yeah, there's a fucking.
The problem is when writing is bad.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
I don't know. I wish I could remember what I was gonna say about Nick Fury. It was actually, there was like a fully formed thought, and I was like, yes, this makes a lot of sense, and it was just gone.
What was I gonna say? Why are you here, huh? Why are you here? Little cat. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, I remember now. Sony is making a Tarzan film. That's what I was gonna say. And for some reason, the article that was talking about it used a image from the Disney animated Tarzan for some reason, even though Tarzan is a old story that's public domain. I don't know why I don't know. It just made people confused from what I could tell.
Fun.
But like, apparently they said that they're modernizing it, or what was the exact wording they used? They basically said that they were going to modernize the Tarzan tale. And I was like, please cast a black actor as Tarzan. Please cast a black actor as Tarzan. Because listen, I just want to see what happens.
Yeah, that's
like, I want to see what happens if they cast a black actor as Tarzan. I want to know what that reality is going to be like so badly.
No, I want to
like, oh no. You got people on one side being like, oh, they changed that race of the character. He's supposed to be white, and then people on the other side being like, it's racist. It's racist.
I know it will never happen because for obvious reasons.
Like, we agree.
It's like, I know it's never going to happen because for obvious reasons, they're too shit scared to put a black man in a loincloth and swing it around. That's just a fact of the business. But I want that existence to happen so badly.
Oh my gosh, I do too. That'd be so good.
Oh, it would be glorious. I don't even care if the film's good or not. I'll go fucking watch it just to see what happens. Oh, I want that to happen so badly.
Oh.
Anyways, that's the only other like major thing I was thinking about. It was just a random thought I had. I just want to see that happen. Because Disney's never gonna do it.
Oh yeah.
Even if they do make a remake, they're never gonna cast a black actor as Tarzan. Maybe they'll cast a black actor as Jane, but not Tarzan. No fucking way are they doing that. Anyways, yeah, that's about it from me, I guess. I know I'm just putting a halt on that, but I didn't really do a lot this week, and I'm just kind of divulging into tangents at this point. So yeah. Over the last month, I became very angry at stupid shit. That's a summary of my existence.
I want to see this now. You know what I really want to do is I want to interview people and ask them what their thoughts are on Black Tarzan as if it's a real thing.
The thing is, I'd argue like
I don't think
at least 50. I'd argue at least 70% of the people you would ask would be like, yeah, okay, because they aren't fucking weirdos who spend their entire existences on Twitter.
Yeah.
And are just like, I see the racism from a mile away. We need a new cast of superheroes that are all racist. Sorry, not racist, have racist superpowers. No, wait, that's already been done.
Wait, what?
I fucked up my joke twice, and then I realized that what I'm doing is already
I don't
a thing.
understand your joke. What is the joke here?
I don't know. I'm a dumbass. That's my joke. It's because of the thing I said. I was like, they can see the racism from a mile away, and then made me think of like super whatever. It's like they have the power of see racism or some shit. And then I just fumbled it real bad. And then I remembered that there's a cartoon show where its entire premise was that everyone was a stereotype. Which was fun. So yeah, that was just my head going through the motions. Anyways, let's just jump into things before I fucking go through anything else. So this is going to be a lot of me talking and a lot of Devin and Matthew saying, yeah, it looks okay. Just to let you know, that's what's going to happen. Moving on to news, because obviously we don't have trailers. So in the news, I'm just barreling through this episode now, aren't I? God. Anyways, so yeah, that I'm just gonna do things correctly now.
Okay.
So yes, that's basically what I've all been doing. What I have been doing this month. Pretty much. I mentioned games like once and then went on to divulge, but that's fine.
We should really just do a movie podcast.
I want to do one, but also I need to do other things for that to happen.
Aaron,
so actually,
Aaron, we got to call it the PC discussion, the PCD, pop culture discussion.
So stupid.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the PCD. I'm D. This is A, and that's M.
No.
Why?
No. What?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
M wasn't even a part of that statement. Whatever.
Welcome back to the PCD.
I mean, if I was gonna do a filming podcast, I would just call it filming the discussion.
Oh, yeah. Because we're filming our discussion. Oh yeah.
It's a play on words.
Oh yeah.
Because we're filming and it's about film. I'm very clever. Anyways, so moving on to the main bulk of what this episode is actually going to be about, the Nintendo Direct State of Play and ID Xbox Showcase. The ID at Xbox Showcase, along with a miscellaneous thing for the last bit. So obviously these are, it was the 13th. Hold on a second. Yeah, these are several weeks old. But whatever. You're here for our opinion, not somebody else's, right? So yeah. Starting out with the Nintendo Direct that took place on September 13th of last month now, because it's October. And we're just gonna quickly go through everything that was showcased and all of that good stuff. First on the docket, which was showed last in the Direct, is the first teaser of the new Legend of Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom, which is the sequel to Breath of the Wild for those who care. The new Breath of the Wild sequel, Tears of the Kingdom. We have gotten a little tease of what that is to look like.
Okay.
Adventure, yeah. At the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So, and yeah. It looks, I don't know, have either of you seen it or can see it? I don't know.
He has seen it.
It looks interesting.
And he has
Wait, I haven't seen the Direct, but I've seen the Breath of the Wild thing.
Yeah, it's just a little teaser of what it is. Obviously, there's the new, up, because that was revealed originally. It's like now the world is divided into an upper and lower layer with all the Sky Islands. There's a bunch of new stuff you can do with the powers from what it looks like. Yeah, it's just overall more. I mean, I would argue, I don't know. I can't say for certain, but I would argue that it's kind of more of the same but different. It's probably more complex than that, but And yeah, it looks good. I don't know. I don't have a lot of large, like, overarching opinions about.
You know what,
Tears of
Aaron?
Kingdom.
You know what, Aaron? I disagree. It's not more of the same but different. That would be ridiculous.
Yes, I suppose you're correct. What do you I will say anything to you say directly. Like, if you have anything, like, I'm just gonna preface this. If you have anything specific to say about what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I did not pay enough attention.
To what? Anything I said?
No, I have not been paying enough attention to the the media itself. I've not been paying enough attention to the thing, to the Legend Zelda stuff.
All right. Good to know. All right. So yes, Tears of the Kingdom. Anything to say, either of you, at all?
It looks interesting. I'm curious. I want to play it.
Good to know.
It's been a little while since I watched that. I don't remember it super well. I remember seeing something with stasis, I think, and that looks interesting.
Yeah, there's some new cool powers.
Here's the problem. I haven't played the first game.
You played a little bit of it. You died, remember?
I did. I died just like everyone else dies when they play that game in the same location.
Definitely everyone else.
You immediately ran off a cliff. I agree.
Everyone does that though.
All right,
that cliff is.
I was pretty sure it was gonna let me jump off, and I tested it. So I was just like, I want to see how fall damage works in this game. Jump.
I know, it's so beautiful. That game is so well designed.
And then I later accidentally walked off of it. But we don't talk about that.
Okay, I think that game is just incredibly well designed.
Yes.
And I'm excited for the sequel, although I have not been paying any attention to the sequel. And also I can't play it because I don't have a device to play it on, so it doesn't.
All right. All good things, I'd say. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it's the Breath of the Wild sequel, so it has a lot of pedigree behind it. So it will probably be good. Next up is the reveal of Pikmin 4. This was a very unexpected thing for me, anyways. It was just randomly interjected in the middle of the direct. Miyamoto came out saying, "I'm going to talk about a Pikmin mobile game. Also, here's Pikmin 4." So that's cool. I love Pikmin. Pikmin is a very good real-time strategy series where you play as little weird blob people. Well, that's not a good description of the people. But Pikmin is a very good series of games. I like them a lot. I have not had a chance to play Pikmin 3 just because it was originally on the Wii U and I never had one, and then it got ported to the Switch and I haven't bought it yet. So,
I should look up anything. I should probably play Pikmin. It's one of those really iconic games. I've heard.
Yeah, you should come over here and play it. I have Pikmin on 1 and 2.
What if I do that? Like I have a big thing tomorrow. So what if I do that later today after the podcast? Does that sound possible, feasible?
Well, my sister asked me to come over to dinner.
All right. How about not today then?
What about tomorrow?
I can't do it tomorrow. I just said that.
I wasn't listening, so I was just saying anything.
He wasn't listening to you, apparently. Yeah, my sister has asked me to come over to dinner. So,
well,
this does not need to be discussed during the podcast, but you get the point. So sorry, I guess.
Now everyone who's watching knows why I can't come over to your house, because you're so busy all the time.
Definitely.
That's why it's happening.
That's why I mean, I'd love to, but I can't.
Not because you're horrible with schedules.
Right. Anyways, Pikmin. Very, very good series. I like it a lot. Anything to say on anything?
I don't know anything about Pikmin, so I just know that there's one YouTuber who I listen to who is very, very, very happy about it.
Okay, good.
His name is Arlo, and his avatar is a puppet.
Yeah. Funny thing about Arlo, technically he predicted this in a weird way.
Really?
As I
remember him talking
believe
about it.
so. He made us. He mentioned something offhand one time to another individual who was asking about a joke he was going to make, and hit like, because like we are in sort of the range of what makes sense for Pikmin 4 because of the release schedule of the series.
Huh.
It's very strange. I wish I could remember the exact thing. But basically, because of the timing between each release, right now is like right about when Pikmin 4 should be announced and released, which is very funny to me. Yeah, so that's just a one-off thing. Pikmin 4, we haven't seen very much of it. It's just a little teaser once again.
Aaron, can you explain to me this pattern or whatever you were saying about the release schedules?
The what are you talking about?
He's curious about the schedule that Arlo predicted.
Oh, it wasn't a tweet. It was a thing. It's not something he like publicly.
Yeah, it's like time-wise. It's like every 3 years this happens, every 4 years that happens. I'm guessing that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, because I believe there was like,
Pikmin 1 was 2001, then Pikmin 2 was 2004, then 3 was 2013, and then Deluxe for 3 was 2020.
He was basically saying, it was basically like a joke of like, somebody had jokingly said like, I don't remember. It was basically like Pikmin 4 in 2020 whatever, or Pikmin 4 in 2020 like 8 or something like that. And he had said, based on the release schedule of current Pikmin games, that is actually a very reasonable place for Pikmin 5. So now would be a reasonable time for Pikmin 4, is basically what it's saying. It doesn't matter very much. It was just like a joke thing. I just thought it was funny to bring up, and
I think it's funny.
It's not something he publicly tweeted about, as far as I'm aware.
Oh.
So yes. Anyways, Pikmin.
Wait, can you unpublicly tweet?
I don't know.
I'm curious. Sorry, I'm being a little messing around with you, but is it possible to tweet unpublicly?
I mean, you have the direct messaging with other people.
That's true.
And you have drafts. Drafts are a thing. I don't know how those work, but there's drafts, which are tweets that you don't, they're saved tweets or something. I don't know how that works. Drafts are not public. I know that. Anyways, before I get too ahead of myself, I will say that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has a release date for the 12th of May next year. And so that's actually happening pretty soon, all things considered. And the Pikmin game is going to be coming out sometime 2023 as well, which is next year. Moving on. We got to get through these fast. There's a lot to talk about, and you guys are not going to talk about it very much, so I can just speed through this. Next up on the docket, Fire Emblem Engage, the next mainline Fire Emblem game to be released, which appears to be basically fan service incarnate, the video game. Because so the whole deal with Fire Emblem Engage is that you play as a toothpaste. You play as a toothpaste. Have you seen the design of the protagonist? Their hair, their design is very interesting. I like it. It's also really dumb. You play as Colgate toothpaste because their hair is split down the middle as red and blue, and they have like a red and blue motif. It's really weird looking, but also kind of hilarious. And you play as this protagonist who was asleep for 1,000 years after who has been in some kind of coma for 1,000 years and has just recently awoken as the world begins to as darkness is now reforming in the world. It seems to be vaguely based on some events from some of the original Fire Emblem games, like there's like this world serpent and this evil guy that's going to be happening. But anyways, the main gimmick of the game is that you have certain people have rings that allow them to summon past Fire Emblem protagonists. So,
okay.
And based on, there's like this mural that you get shown in the trailer, and based on the mural, from what I can tell, it's basically every Fire Emblem protagonist from every game up into 3 houses will be appearing as people you can summon based on the mural. So Marth, Ike, Roy, what was it? You like all of the protagonists from the Crom.
I have no idea about Fire Emblem protagonists, but I believe you.
Yes. Anyways, that's what I'm basically saying. It's based on the mural that you see. It's all of the mainline Fire Emblem protagonists from all of the games.
Okay.
So yes, like I said, main gimmick. You have a ring that summons a Fire Emblem protagonist from the past, I guess. I don't know how it works, but it's basically stands. It's basically a stand or a persona, which is basically stands in of itself. Because the Persona series has the main gimmick of a persona, which is something you summon by your side to fight, but that's basically a stand because it was direct reference. You get the point.
Yeah.
So yes, in this new Fire Emblem game, you have stands, and your stands are ancient Fire Emblem protagonists. Also, there might be old Fire Emblem villains appearing as well, because the bad guy appears to have some kind of ring as well. So that's all I have to say about Fire Emblem Engage. Sorry if I'm talking kind of quick. There's just a lot to go through, and I know Devin and Matthew are not going to talk about it very much anyways, so...
Nope.
Yes. Fire Emblem Engage will be launching the 20th January next year. So that's happening very soon. Yeah, the Fell Dragon. Anyways, moving on. Oh yeah, this will be a quick one. New N64 titles are coming to the... Oh my fucking god! New N64 titles are coming to the Nintendo Switch. Oh, fuck. There we go. Jesus. Sorry. My camera went out of thingy because cats and existence fails me. So for the third time, new N64 titles will be heading to the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack subscription, which is the longest name for something in existence, such as GoldenEye 007, GoldenEye 007, Excitebike 64, 1080 degrees snowboarding, Pilot Wing 64, Pokemon Stadium 2, and the first 3 Mario Parties 1, 2, and 3. All of those will be heading to the Nintendo Switch Plus expansion pack subscription. That's its official title. So what?
Okay, that's funny.
So if you want to spend a lot of money on having access to N64 games for the emulator, go for it. I personally don't care enough. because I've explained this a lot before, but it's an extra price to do it. I mean, you get Sega Genesis games on top of that, as well as a bunch of, I won't get into it, but the thing that baffles me the most is just having DLC for other games that you may not even play being bundled with the expansion pack. Like, they do that to make it more enticing for people because it's not a very good deal, but like, there's anyways, moving on. Those all will be coming out, or probably have come out, over the course of the next months, and so. Next up is a interesting one for me. I guess it makes okay. So Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, a remake of the original Kirby's Return to Dreamland, has been announced and is coming out. So Kirby's Return. Let me slow down a little bit. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe is a remake of the original Kirby's Return to Dreamland that released on the Wii when did it release again? I believe it's been over 12 years or so. It's like 2011 when it originally released. So I guess it makes sense for there to be a remake of the game at this point. But also, I didn't really feel like it needed to be released or remade. I don't know. They also changed the art style slightly and made DDD look kind of weird. I don't know why they did that. As far as new content in this deluxe version, there is a new copy ability, which is mech, I believe it's called mecha. You get like robots and can fire rockets and stuff. New copy ability. It's 4-player. Everybody can either be separate characters or all play as Kirby. There'll be new mini games as well as returning mini games for multiplayer or otherwise. There's also possibly some extra content in regards to like challenge races, I guess I'll call them. There was this thing that was introduced in Kirby Return to Dreamland, which was like challenge rooms where you went through it, where you went through this like obstacle course with a copy ability, and you just try and collect as many points as possible to get like a gold rank. Essentially, it's like, it was just some extra stuff you could do. There probably will be new ones of those, as well as possibly something that was introduced in the 20th anniversary thingy, the 20th anniversary special edition thing that they released, which had a bunch of old Kirby games on it, where you could race against a Magalore, which is the spoiler villain of this game. So there might be that as well. Basically, what I'm saying is there's probably going to be a lot of extra content that was not originally in it, which makes sense. But I'm just trying to detail what the specifics are exactly. Anyways, anything to say about this? Probably not.
Kirby.
Yay.
Have
Kirby.
a relationship with that game. Very, very small relationship with that game.
All right, then. It will be coming out 24th February 2023. So look out for that if you're interested. I don't really need to go over this, but there was a Splatfest announcement for Splatoon 3 that was talked about. None of us play Splatoon. None of us have a history with Splatoon. It doesn't matter. Then we have the third wave of DLC for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, with 8 more tracks, including Merry Mountain and Mario Kart 2 from Mario Kart Tour and Peach Gardens from Mario Kart DS. And those will be on their way soon. Where is the thingy? Wave 3. When is this being released? Available this holiday season. That's that's nice and specific. I don't have a lot to say about this. It's just more. It's more DLC for Mario Kart 8. That's all I have to say.
I like your wording.
Thank you. Next up, we have Bayonetta 3 was announced during the Direct. Bayonetta 3. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about Bayonetta. Bayonetta has been a series that's been on my docket to play for a long time, but I've just haven't gotten around to it yet. I will say basically the main sort of vague plot of this game, from what it can tell, is that the Umber Witch, Bayonetta, has been awoken to fight off monsters that threaten to end all of mankind. Also, the monsters are completely mankind's fault. Just saying. There's returning characters like the Platinum Umber Witch Joanne, the journalist, what's his name? The journalist Luca, as well as possibly a new character called Viola. So go on a fucking character action game globe-trotting adventure to kill all the big monsters that threaten mankind. There was also a separate video that went into more gameplay detail that was released after the Direct. I'm not going to talk about it specifically because, like I said, I'm not the one to talk about Bayonetta. That's just how it is. But you can watch it for yourself if you haven't already, if you check the description where I put everything. After that, I assume neither of you have really anything to talk about Bayonetta, right? It's a character action game, hack and slash type thing, where you play as Bayonetta, who uses her hair to kill things. Matthew, you're muted. Next up will be Xenoblade 3 expansion pass DLC. A new robot character you can do stuff with. I haven't played any of the Xenoblade games, sorry. And then a second free update for Mario Strikers Battle League, which is a Mario soccer game. Includes Diddy Kong and Pauline as new characters and new gear you can choose from. Then another update for Nintendo Switch Sports. So there's now added the long-awaited golf update. It says here, I don't know who was long awaiting a golf update, but for whoever you are, I hope you're having fun.
Wii Sports is still supported. This cannot be on. Is this on the Wii U?
No, it's the new sports. It's the Nintendo Switch Sports.
Okay.
Which was a sort of remake of the original Wii and Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort that is now on the Switch, and it has all of the old sports that you can play as, and they changed how the Miis look, so now they look more like people instead of weird circle creatures. You can still play as the weird circle creatures, but they did change how the Miis look.
I had such good memories playing that. That was my first video game.
Wow.
You remember? You were there.
I probably was.
I mean, I think my first video game was probably Pokemon, but my first video game my first video game where I played a video game.
Yeah.
Other people.
Also, I realized I skimped out on the release date for like these last three things that I talked about. Sorry about that. Yeah. Bayonetta will be arriving 28th of October this year by the looks of it. So yeah, available October, which this month, the 28th of this month, you will be able to play Bayonetta on the Switch exclusively. So I hope you enjoy that. The DLC expansion pass for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is arriving October 14th, and the Mario Strikers update is arriving.
They always talk about Xenoblade, but what about Yes Blade?
Yeah, it has already arrived. There we go. It says arriving this month, and when that was...
Aaron, you're ignoring my joke.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said we always talk about Xenoblade, but what about ZS Blade?
Ah, yes, ZS Blade, my favorite. So sorry about skipping about. Sorry about skipping out on those release dates. The Golf update probably has already, available. Free. So the free Golf update available holiday 2022. I will say there is other stuff aside from golf, like there's an 8-player online survival mode for other stuff, and it's a whole thing. So yeah, so that will be arriving holiday season this year. Next up is actually a game I'm very excited about because it has an art style I absolutely love, even though I haven't played the first game. It's something I very much want to play. Octopath Traveler 2.
That's exciting.
Yes, Octopath Traveler 2, the sequel to the original. That should be blatantly obvious. Why am I like this? So this is the next in the series of sort of 3D CG. Retro pixel 3D CG is apparently the style that it's called.
Retro pixel, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like 3D environment with like pixel art people, and it's kind of all this. It's very good looking. I love the way this style looks. This style has also been used in other games such as Project Triangle Strategy, obviously the first one, and some other games as well. But I absolutely love the way this game looks. So for those of you unaware of what Octopath Traveler is about, Octopath Traveler is a game where you have eight different protagonists that all have their own stories to play through that vaguely interconnect with one another as it progresses. In this game, you have another 8 people to play as and play through their stories. As far as I'm aware, I don't know if it connects to the first game at all, so it might be completely new stuff. That's a lot to play through. But yes, all new stories like the warrior Hikari and his quest for something. I don't know. But yeah, lots of different styles to go from. Lots of very good English voice acting, honestly. Very good English voice acting. It looks fantastic. Sounds fantastic. I'm very excited for it. I just have to get around to playing the first one at some point. But this will be arriving on the Nintendo Switch on the 24th of February next year. So I've got time at least. Yes. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about it. Anything for you guys? Okay. Next up,
I actually don't have any idea what Xenoblade is.
I wasn't talking about Xenoblade. I was talking about Octopath Traveler.
I have not played Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
I only know about it with good reviews. You know, I should probably play Octopath Traveler in the same way. Like, I've heard it's like a really, really good game in my genre. In the same way that Arcane is a really, really good show. Like, Arcane has perfect scores. Octopath Traveler has near perfect scores.
Yeah, it was very good from what I understand.
From what you also haven't played.
I know I haven't played it, but there's a lot of things I haven't played, okay? Why do I run a gaming podcast? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So, what is this called? How do you pronounce this? Theatrhythm. Is that Theatrhythm? It might be Theatrhythm. Whatever it's called, Final Bar Line. It's a Final Fantasy rhythm game. Hold on a second. Never mind. So a brand new it's a Final Fantasy rhythm game. This is this is for celebrating the Final Fantasy's 35th anniversary. A Theatrhythm Final Bar, like I said, is a rhythm game that includes a ridiculously large amount of songs from the Final Fantasy series, as well as Octopath Traveler and Nier Automata and Octopath Traveler, Nier Automata, and there was a third one. Hold on a second. What is it? Apparently, there was a third series that they were pulling songs from, but this game has. Is this not the thing they showed during the thing? They said how much music was in this. It's like over 500 pieces of music in this game.
Wow. Okay.
Somewhere in that about. So it's like from many different series and games. So you can play through the song and sort of the series. It's a very, like, if you're into that kind, if you're into Final Fantasy and rhythm games, this is the game for you, my friend.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good and it has a shit ton of Final Fantasy music, and all Final Fantasy music has always been pretty good. So it's not like it's bad or anything.
I have never actually played. I've never actually
Final
played
Fantasy?
Final Fantasy or a rhythm game.
Really?
Unfortunately.
That's kind of weird. Not the Final Fantasy thing. Rhythm games, I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel, well, I've seen people play them a lot. But like, even like at an event with some people playing it nearby, I have not been one of those people who goes over and offers to play with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Asks to play with them.
Yeah. How much more do we have to go through? Oh, for fuck's sake. I get where you're coming from. But yes, Final Fantasy. I can't pronounce the name of this game. The Theatrhythm Final Bar Line will be arriving the 26th, the 16th of February next year. So look forward to that. Next up is Tunic.
Hold on.
Tunic.
When I walked away, you were trying to pronounce the name. When I come back, you're still.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You weren't going to talk about that anyways. Next up on the thing is a Switch port of Tunic. Tunic is a sort of old school Zelda-y, top-down, super cool adventure game with some fighting mechanics and lots of puzzling, and you adventure through the whole world and figure out puzzles and secrets and stuff. It's very cool. It's very good. It got very highly rated when it originally released, and now it is on the Switch. So Tunic, you play as a fox. Play it. It's good. Yes, Tunic.
Okay.
That will be arriving. It is already on the Switch. Go fucking have it. It came out on the Switch the 27th of September. So it's officially
I have
on
never heard of this game.
the Switch. I feel like we've talked about it before. Could be wrong. Yes, Tunic. Very good. Next up, Project Zero Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse launches outside of Japan for the first time on the Switch. So this is an old. So Fatal Frame / Project Zero is a series of Japanese horror games where you fight really scary ghosts with a camera. You take pictures of the ghosts and they like. I actually don't know how to describe exactly what happens to them. They basically just die or something. You take pictures of them. The whole sort of gameplay elements that you're taking pictures of ghosts and trying to get rid of them while trying not to be scared shitless of what is happening. So Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse was a Japan exclusive game that originally came out on the PlayStation, Xbox, and it initially was released on the Wii back in 2008. So this is a 14-year-old game that is being ported for the first time out of Japan on the Nintendo Switch. It will also be coming to the PlayStation and Xbox. But Project Zero, I haven't played any of the Fatal Frame series, so that's that. Next up, It Takes Two is also going to be coming to the Switch November 4th. The critically acclaimed co-op puzzle game It Takes Two, where you play as a wife and you play as a wife and husband whose marriage is on the rocks, who get turned into dolls and have to work out their problems through the It's a whole thing. We've talked about this before. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about it. It looked kind of fun, if I remember correctly.
But that is coming out November 4th, as well as a fantasy farming sim, Harvestella, which has gotten a Switch eShop demo. Harvestelia is a farming life sim where the main sort of gimmick outside of farming is that basically it's like, what was the thing they said? Why can't I remember? But it has like RPG elements where you're fighting people on top of like the sort. Man, I'm doing a bad job describing this game. Harvestella is a farming sim that has combat RPG elements where you're fighting monsters and stuff, as well as the sort of main gameplay gimmick not gameplay gimmick, but one of the main things is that there's basically like this season in the game where like the season of death, essentially, where like everything is bad and you have to play through your like seasons of getting good crops and doing that, and then fight through the season of death. I think that's what it's called. I don't remember. Yes, Harvestella. It looked pretty good. I don't have much else to say about it. That's being released. That's also being released on November 4th, if I can look at it. Yeah, that's also being released on November 4th, so that's a thing. Also, I will say there was kind of a through line with the whatever. Next up,
there was a through line with the what?
The Nintendo. There was a lot of farming sims during these things. There was a lot of farming sims during the Direct and otherwise. I don't know why. There was just a lot of farming life sims. Also, Sifu will, as port of the title Sifu, will also launch for Switch on November 8th. Sifu is a sort of combat action game where every time you die, or every time you like die, quote unquote, lose, your character ages by 1 year. So the whole gimmick is that you're trying to complete your quest for revenge before you just die of old age. Because like as you grow older, you like get weaker, but you get experience to unlock better things. So yeah, that's a cool game with a cool concept that is coming to Switch November 8th. Next up is Rune Factory 3 Special, which is a farming life sim with RPG elements. This is a what is it called? Not a remake, because it doesn't look like a remake. It's a something remaster of Rune Factory 3. It has more stuff in it, more options for like marriage and all that other stuff. The main gameplay gimmick of this is that you turn into a monster to try and like do stuff with monsters and do stuff with humans, and it's like, balancing the peace between the two factions. Yes, Rune Factory. It's a somewhat old series of games where it's basically like, originally when it first released, it was basically like you have your Harvest Moon, which is just your general life sim, and then your Rune Factory, which is a combat RPG mixed with a farming life sim. So yes, Rune Factory 3 Special will be launching on the Switch next year. Also, a new Rune Factory is in development. That was just something they dropped randomly. I feel like we might have to skip through some of the other stuff because holy shit, this is taking a long time. Next on the docket is Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, another farming sim. You see what I mean? There's a lot of farming sims. So, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, which is a remake of the original Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, which originally released like back in 2005 or some shit. Actually, probably much older. It originally released on the GameCube back then. So, remake of Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life.
Okay. No.
What?
I said no idea what that is.
It's another farming sim.
Ah.
Like I said, lots of farming sims. So I guess I
I'm
should.
starting to think about the idea of Rune Factory. Rune Factory sounds really cool.
Well, as far as I'm aware, you can get it on several different platforms. I could be wrong on that front, but you know. Yeah, Rune Factory is cool. But Story of Seasons. So I have to go on a quick side tangent for those who don't know. So this is a remake of a Harvest Moon game. First of all, do you know what Harvest Moon is? That name should ring up somewhat of a bell depending on who you are. Yes.
Yes, I know what Harvest Moon is. I've watched
people
play it.
The classic Harvest Moon series, which was a farming life sim series. Basically the Harvest Moon is now known as Story of Seasons. That's all you need to know.
Oh.
So Story of Seasons is Harvest Moon. It's just under a different name now. So this game, A Wonderful Life, is a remake of Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. But it's called Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. Confusion out of the way, hopefully.
Not the confusion as to why they decided to do it like that, but yes.
Oh yeah, Fae Farm. It has to do with like the company. It has to do with a bunch of company mumbo jumbo. Basically, like the people who originally translating the games, called Natsume, stopped being the translators for the people who actually make the games. But Natsume got to keep the Harvest Moon name. So now Harvest Moon games that are currently being made by Natsume they're not actual Harvest Moon games because they aren't made by the original developers. They're made by other people, which is why they're bad now.
Okay.
Yes. But Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, whatever. It's a remake. That's all that matters. The main sort of draw of A Wonderful Life, though, is that it actually got really into detail about you living a life, not just farm simming. So you can like get married and have a kid, and the kid will actually grow up and you'll go throughout the years. So it's actually like a pretty in-depth life sim as well as farming. So that's cool. And your kid will like develop a personality depending on who they interact with throughout the town. It's all cool. It's good. You can play as both a male and a female. Why am I bringing this up? Because originally you had to buy separate games if you wanted that feature. It's just a little cool bit of detail I know not a cool bit. Basically, the original Wonderful Life was A Wonderful Life and then Another Wonderful Life. Those were two separate games that were basically the same game, except the difference was that you were a female instead of a male. So there were two separate games for playing as a female and male originally, and now you can just choose. It's whatever. It's just something I thought I'd bring up. But yeah, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. It's I mean, if you like farming sims, I don't know. The Harvest Moon / season Story of Seasons game series is always good. I like farm sims. So I'm vaguely excited for it. I actually do have Another Wonderful Life for the original GameCube over there. So that's a thing. That will be releasing summer next year, 2023. Fae Farm is another farming simulator, except this is like a 4-player multiplayer thingy. It's like Fae thing. It's a whatever. Fae Farm. I don't have a lot to say about this. That'll be releasing spring next year. Tales of Symphonia Remastered was also announced, which will be arriving early 2023. Tales of Symphonia is an RPG series that has a lot of praise, but I have personally never played, and neither of you probably care enough to talk about it, which is fine.
It sounds familiar.
But that, yeah, Tales of Symphonia Remastered will be arriving for the Switch as well as PlayStation, Xbox. Basically, every Resident Evil remake is now coming to Switch as a cloud version. So Resident Evil Remake 1, 2, and 3, as well as Resident Evil 7, and I believe Resident Evil Village are all coming to the Nintendo Switch via cloud versions in October. Another game, Master Detective Archives Rain Code, is a it's a game where you are a detective. You're solving murders and stuff, and it's from the creators of Danganronpa. It has this weird feature where, like, once you try and make a deduction, you're basically sent through this mini game. You're also like fighting bosses that just throw. It's really funny. There are like these boss encounters that like throw words at you because they're like trying. They're basically like, that deduction is false, and then you like cut through their words. It's very funny. Also, the game looks very good. And yes, that is coming spring 2023. Their Just Dance 2023 edition, November 23rd. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is going to be coming out October 20th. That also will include Rayman as a DLC character. Post-launch expansion. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is a turn-based tactical RPG. Whoops. Very interesting. The fact that that series succeeded is very cool, but also very good. I don't have a lot else to say about it. Also, Oddballers, which is a game that has been out for a while, but is getting a port to the Switch. It's basically like a dodgeball. It's like a dodgeball. Dodgeball? That's not how you say it. Dodgeball. It's basically like a multiplayer dodgeball game where you throw something, you throw a ball at people to get them knocked out. It's a fun little multiplayer experience. I've seen it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. another farming sim, Various Day Life.
What do we know the differences between these different farming sims?
I mean, wait. Sorry, I got it confused. This is not a farming sim. This is like an RPG life sim. There isn't farming in this one. It's just like a life sim RPG, Various Day Life. Yeah, it's basically like a daily life. You know how D&D adventurers spend like 4 hours in town meandering about and then go on a 4-hour quest? It's this game. That's what this game is. You do daily life bullshit in town and then go on an adventure. Various Day Life. It looks pretty good, I will say. Also, from what I can tell, yeah, this did originally release this. So it's getting a port to the Switch, and that has already come out, along with arcade shoot 'em up Radiant Silvergun, which I don't have a lot to say about it. It's a good looking shmup. I will say that. Factorio will also be launching on Switch October 28th. Factorio is a survival game. Factorio, that's a port, so Factorio's been around for a while. That's very good.
I think I've heard of Factorio. I know some people who
it's like a resource management survival game where you build machines to build other machines, and it's like this constant upgrade while you're trying to get off the planet. It's very cool.
It's like Minecraft.
Yes, survival
with an
building
end.
thingy game. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is also coming to the Switch December 13th. Also a port of Ebe, which is a...
Is it Ebe Online?
Huh? No. Ebe is a sort of arty horror 2D exploration adventure game thing that is pretty old at this point. It's cool. It's kind of weird and cool. I like it. But that is also coming to the Switch in spring. We're almost done. Just a few more to go through. Next up is the most ridiculous game that I've ever seen. Fitness Boxing. Fist of the North Star. So this is a boxing fitness game where you're like doing the boxing motions with motion controls to like, it's a, it's like it's literally called fitness boxing. It's literally like a exercise boxing game, but it has the skin of Fist of the North Star on it for some reason.
Weird.
Which is really weird. It's kind of hilarious. So you're like fighting these guys with your boxing moves, your boxing in rhythm. It's very strange and fun. That will be launching March 2023. And also Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End. Hold on, let me check something with this. Is also coming to the Switch. Is this like a port or a thingy? It's coming to the Switch. I don't know if I can't seem to find any information. Whatever. Yeah, Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End is a RPG. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. What is this? Wait, what? Hold on, I'm being very sorry. I'm being very confused by something.
Okay.
What? I don't remember this. Oh, sorry. I didn't read its full title. I thought the other half of its title was a separate game. Let me rephrase myself. Atelier Ryza 3 Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key is its full title. Turns up on the Nintendo Switch 24th February next year.
That is
sorry. I thought
long.
The other half of its title was a separate game, and it really confused me. Also for next year, there's a new SpongeBob SquarePants game, SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, which is a 3D platformer SpongeBob game that has a bunch of references to the cartoon. And it's weird, but like 3D SpongeBob platform games actually have a lot of pedigree behind them.
Oh, that's cool.
Like most of them are actually pretty good. I don't know why. I don't know if this one will be good.
It has a really easy answer, Aaron. Ready?
Yeah.
It starts with L. It's LOV.
Love.
The people who are making them actually love the thing that they're making.
Yeah. Oh man.
And actually give a crap if it succeeds.
I was a fool to think we would get through all of this in a reasonable amount of time. Yes, you are correct though. Yeah, Cosmic Shake. That's coming out next year. Roguelite Endless Dungeon remake of Front Mission 1, 2, and 3 were also shown without release date information. Front Mission is a really old school tactical RPG where you play as mechs, or you're in mechs. That's fun. And finally, the montage part.
If people don't want things to fail, they make them not fail.
You are correct. So finally, the montage part. Disney Speedstorm, which is a Disney racing game with Disney characters in it. That's winter 2022. Lego Brick Tales, which is a Lego diorama puzzly thing, which is super cool. We've talked about this before. Autumn 2022. Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection, 27th September, which already released. The Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered, 1st December. And lastly, Fall Guys Season 2, which has already begun. Any final thoughts after all of that dumb information? Cool. So that's it for the Nintendo, whatever it's called. I've lost brain function. So yeah, all in all, pretty good direct. I don't have many complaints because why the fuck would I complain about information that is being given to me? Seriously, the people who like get super upset about Nintendo Directs and what is in them are fucking insane people, and I don't understand why they exist. Like, seriously, why the fuck are you getting angry about a game announcements? This makes no sense. Anyways.
Because they wanted it one way, but it was another way.
Yeah, so we are definitely not going to be able to get through all of this. So I'm just going to quickly try and go through the PlayStation State of Play. Thankfully, this is much fucking shorter. We're probably not going to be talking about the ID at Xbox live stream. Thankfully, it's the thing I have the least knowledge about. So first of all, through this, during the PlayStation State of Play broadcast, here are the things that they showed off. Okay. Tekken 8, a trailer for Tekken 8 was shown off. Tekken 8 captured on PS5. I don't have a lot to say about Tekken 8. It's a fighting game. Tekken is a good series. I've talked about the dumb story of Tekken before, where basically the story of the first couple of Tekken games is Heihachi throwing his son Kazuya Mishima off a cliff because he wasn't worthy of something. Kazuya Mishima climbing back up the cliff to fight through increasing ranks of talented fighters to get to his father and defeat him with his weird devil powers that he gained. And then he throws his father off of the same cliff because reasons. And then in the second game, his father climbs up the cliff to fight his son again. So yeah, fun stories. Anyways, Tekken is a weird, stupid series, but I actually enjoy the aesthetic a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, Tekken 8, September will be... we do not have a release date for Tekken 8. We've just been shown it. Next up, some trailers for Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition, which is like it's a VR Star Wars game. It's for PSVR 2. That's all I have to say about that. That's coming out next year. Demio, which is Demio. Demio is another PSVR game. Demio is a tabletop RPG dungeon crawler. What's that board? You know that board game that's kind of like D&D, that's dungeon crawly?
Hero Quest?
Yeah, here it's basically Hero Quest in VR.
What is?
Okay.
The Demio. It's a tabletop RPG style dungeon crawler in VR, but like you're literally playing with like little pieces on like a board. So it's very much like Hero Quest in that regard. I also don't have a lot to say about this because it's PSVR and I will never own a VR headset because they're very expensive, but it looks kind of fun, you know. Next up is the new Yakuza. Hold on. A new Yakuza spin-off game, Like a Dragon Ishin, is available outside of Japan for the first time in February, for the first time on PS5. Shin Like a Dragon is a game that's set in one of the old school Japan periods. I don't really know what it's called, but it's a period where the West started heavily interacting with them. So you have like guns and stuff. So it's actually a vaguely interesting period of time and not just same old that you usually get when you go into ancient Japan. So that's fun. But Like a Dragon Ishin. The Yakuza series is very fun and cool. So I am vaguely excited for this, but I don't have a PS5, so I'm probably never going to play it.
Oh.
So yeah. The main cool thing about Like a Dragon Ishin is that it's, you know, it's being available outside of Japan for the very first time. So, you know, so that'll be coming out February of next year. Next up is that Hogwarts is that fucking Harry Potter game. You remember the one? Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. PlayStation exclusive. Oh, sorry. Harry Potter game Hogwarts. Holy shit, I can't pronounce that word. Hogwarts Legacy. It's a Harry Potter game where you go through like a weird haunted cursed house thingy. There's also like, when is it doing release? February 10th next year. And also, if you're getting it on PlayStation, there's an exclusive quest, the Haunted Hogsmeade Shop. I didn't really care about this game when I first saw it, and I very much don't care about it now. So, you know. But it's Harry Potter, and J.K. Rowling is a controversial figure, so there's that. Next up is the debut game from Ironwood. Ironwood is a brand new development studio that is launching its first game for a PS5 and PC, Pacific Drive, due out 2023. It's a first-person driving survival game. It's a survival game where you drive in a car, and it's in first person, and it's set in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and it looks kind of fun and weird. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Oh yeah, this. I'm not going to dig too deep into this, but Sony announced PlayStation Stars, which is like digital collectibles. And so like it probably isn't NFTs, but digital collectibles are just bad in general. And that's all I have to say about that. Sin Duality is the next up. Coming out from Bandai Namco out next year. Sin Duality is a mech shooter. You pilot a mech and shoot things in possibly a vague open world, and you have like a ghost girl program that follows you. It looks kind of fun. I don't know. Don't have much to say about that. Next up is the PS5 exclusive. What is this called? Stellar Blade, which is made by a Korean studio, which is actually pretty cool. It's made by a Korean studio, and the characters in it actually do speak Korean, from what I understand. Stellar Blade is an action game, is a character action game where you play as a person. Sorry, my brain is frizzled. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say. I've used a lot of my brain power already. It's vaguely apparently it reminds some people of Bayonetta, which I guess I can see. Yeah, this was originally announced in 2019, and it is now going to come out next year. Next up, Rise of Ronin, another game set in a sort of Rise of Ronin is another exclusive for the PS5. It is a RPG from Team Ninja, set in another interesting period of Japan where guns and stuff were a thing. Yeah, it looks vaguely open world. It's from Team Ninja, who, if you don't know, are behind the Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball and Dead or Alive games, and the Ninja Gaiden remakes and stuff. Team Ninja has a lot of weird shit under their belts. Then during the state of play, Sony decided to advertise a controller. Yes, a controller, a God of War Ragnarok themed DualSense controller is coming out that you can purchase. I don't care. Finally, hey, that was much shorter than the other one, thankfully. Finally, is a new trailer for God of War Ragnarok, the game itself. Yes, God of War Ragnarok, the sequel to the God of War 2018. I like God of War as a series. I haven't gotten to play the new ones, but God of War Ragnarok has been heavily anticipated. A lot of people are really excited about this thing. Looks really fun. Seems to have a lot of cool story stuff going on. What was I going to say? For those of you who don't know, God of War is a series that made its name on you playing as a man who literally kills an entire pantheon worth of gods. So yeah, it's all in like Norse mythology and cool stuff like that. We get to see in this trailer Kratos fighting Thor himself. That's cool. All that good stuff. Anyways, God of War Ragnarok. I'm fairly excited for this, but obviously I don't have a PS5, so I'm just gonna have to sate my anticipation by replaying the other God of War games for the like millionth time. And yes, and that is it for the state of play. Jesus. Anything to say or add?
No.
All right, then. We're going to use our last little bit of time here to skip over ID Xbox Showcase, because, like, honestly, do you really want me to talk about this thing? It's like 2 hours long and it's boring. Yeah. So, why is my internet being spotty? Fuck you. I guess I'll just have some quick shout outs. There's a new Ghostbusters game coming out. Hey, something that actually vaguely ties back to the beginning of this fucking thing. Weird. There's a new Ghostbusters game that's coming out. There's a bunch of weird little indie things. Some like DLC for stuff. Yeah, it's like a thing. I'll cover this next week if you guys still care about that, but you know, we'll get through it. So last on the docket is something that I originally wanted to talk about long time ago, but Masahiro Sakurai, that's right, Masahiro Sakurai has started a YouTube channel. The Masahiro Sakurai, creator of Kirby, creator of Smash Brothers, developer and amazing director on so many different titles and games, has made a YouTube channel talking about game design. So, a man with a shit ton of pedigree in the industry has started a YouTube channel to talk about and inform other people about game design, which is super fucking cool. I haven't gotten a chance to watch any of his videos yet, but his channel has recently reached over, like, what was it? He has a ton of subscribers now.
Millions?
Yeah, his channel recently is getting close to 500,000 subscribers. He's already released a fair number of videos about game design over the last several weeks. And just in case you're wondering, he is literally having a professional translative studio translate his videos. So in case you're afraid that the translation will be off, because obviously he's a Japanese man talking in Japanese, but the videos have translated subtitles for what he's saying. That he has said that the people translating his videos are professional translators that actually helped translate Undertale into Japanese. So that's fun. So there's actually quite a bit of stuff going on there. I don't know. Do either of you have something to add to this? Do you think it's like anything?
I just think it's neat.
Okay. That's about it. All that needed to be said. If you're interested in viewing his content, you can find it. Sorry, I'll have a link to obviously his YouTube channel and all of this stuff in the description and pinned comment below as per usual. But yeah, I just think it's really cool, man. Like, Masahiro Sakurai has literally created some of my favorite game series of all time. It's honestly kind of ridiculous if you think about it. That one man.
What did he do?
He was the inventor. He created Kirby. He's also the reason Smash Brothers exist. You know, Super Smash Brothers, that crazy long and lasting game series that has like millions and millions of crossovers from multiple different game series, where you can play Minecraft Steve.
Yeah,
he's the guy that made that. He's also a very talented developer and producer. Or sorry, not developer, programmer. Programmer and the producer, and worked very closely with Satoru Iwata, rest his soul, when he was still alive on many different projects. So, yes, he's very, very talented individual. Yes, and unless anything else has to be added, that is the end of news and the end of the podcast. So we will just move on to shameless self-promotion and the end of the show, if that is cool with you guys. I'm really fucking hungry. Sorry, but that isn't something you guys should care about. But, you know. So anything to add?
I'm gonna go watch this guy's YouTube channel though.
Cool. So, shameless self-promotion. Matthew, what do you got?
I should have a video out because I'm not sure how long, like, just before the published production will be. after the first draft is done. It could be 5-6 more days, but then I'll have a video out on my channel.
Good. Great.
On the Thologram channel. On Thologram.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's linked in the description. Maybe it
Well,
won't.
the video's
Maybe it
not
isn't, I don't
uploaded
know.
yet, so.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Kevin, what about you?
Well, I've got this massive project that I'm working on. But it's it's a little bit lengthy.
Uh-huh.
And it's about Lord of the Rings. It's this great thing I'm excited about.
Okay.
It's all about Lord of the Rings.
Uh-huh.
The Rings of Power and like movies and stuff. It's a good little series, I think.
A good little 10-hour series.
Good little. Well, it's gonna be about 2 hours, I think. 2 or 3.
That's not
4.
well.
Part 1, maybe.
Yeah,
And hopefully I'll get it done in the next few days. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Anything else?
No.
Okay. I have nothing. The podcast will probably keep coming out. Obviously, YouTube, SoundCloud, you know where it is. I don't have any promises for other videos. I might make something assuming I can not either be incredibly lazy / procrastinating / being depressed. So we'll see what happens, Those other videos I've talked about are still technically on the docket, but they'll be made whenever I care enough to make them. And yeah, that's about it for me. So yeah, you can check out everything. Oh yeah, I use Twitter, I guess. I don't know. You can check out everything we discussed in the description or the pinned comment below. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. See you later. I don't know. That's the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye. I mean,
God.
bye.
Yeah, that was awful.